Johnny Gill. I'm with Stevie and Sheldon, and welcome to my show tonight.
We got Johnny Gill.
Hey, how's it been?
That's been good. It's been good. We've sort of got Sheldon. He's in and out of the stream.
Yeah.
But as usual, we're gonna have problems with Sheldon tonight. I'm sure at some point though he'll get it right.
Yeah,
You
she'll
know.
definitely
How are
come
you,
through.
Namdi?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting week. It's been
A
a
very
very
interesting
interesting
week.
week.
You care to enlighten us at all on that?
Yes. So, I mean, I think I think people might not be aware of some major incidents. A major thing that happened this week was Stevie celebrated a milestone birthday, and so we want to wish Stevie a happy birthday. So, how did you celebrate your birthday, Stevie?
Well, it was on a Tuesday. So
Happy
and
birthday.
Tuesdays is my least favourite day of the week. Oh, Sheldon's back. He's
Yeah,
risen.
he just wishes you a happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just a Tuesday. It was just another day. But I've had a good week. You know what I mean? It's nice to have your close family and
Birthday.
friends all remember that it's your birthday, of course. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I mean that, and it's good. I mean, I think so. Look at you again, Joseph and Miss Seven. Y'all wishing you happy birthday, Stevie. Yes.
Thank you very much. Reaching the old 50 milestone there.
Oh goodness, half a century. Wow.
You know, very blessed. Very blessed.
Oh goodness, Dwayne Lacey, welcome, and Dwayne's also giving you a happy birthday. Yes. And Mac is also wishing you a happy birthday as well. Yeah, so yeah, Stevie hit the 50.
The question is though, where's Sheldon been for the last month or so?
Hey, Derek. Yes, Sheldon. Slight delay, but he's there. Sheldon,
I can't
the viewers
say it
want to know
again.
where have you been up to over the
Yeah.
last. Yeah, the viewers have
Yes.
been asking you've been, what you've been up to.
Yeah, man. Just trying to finish
Oh
this book,
dear.
man. It's just a lot, when you're doing a self-published independent project, man. It's because you're doing not just the writing, you doing everything, man, from top to bottom. So it's a lot.
What's the book about?
I'm
I
sorry.
think
Say
we've got
again.
about a minute delay.
Yeah, what's the book about?
The book I'm writing, it's about this is LL Cool J's. This is his 40th anniversary, and as being in the music business, man. So basically, the book is kind of about him. It kind of like when you look at other artists, Nas and a few other people, man. A lot of books have been devoted to them and really analyzing their career and the projects they had, and LL Cool J's situation is a milestone. Again, 40 years. To be in as a high profile artist, all the things that he's done. So it's a watermark, time for him. So, that's why I've been out of pocket or whatever trying to work this book because November '84 was his first record. He just released his latest album, in about over 10 years, man. Just went to number one, so just kind of commemorating that space to maintain that history. So it's about him, the backdrop of his career, within rap music and just the industry within itself, just tracing a timeline. Not necessarily a memoir or an autobiography, but it's biographical in nature. So it's a lot of work though.
Wow, goodness. Well, we
Jeez.
definitely
Been
wish you
working
a
on
lot
it off
of.
and on, for quite some time. So
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, And so hopefully this November you should get it done.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean that's a definitely achievement. So yeah, we'll definitely continue wishing you luck.
Let's hope LL Cool J gets to hear about it and gets to read it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, man, with people are very sensitive about their legacies. People are very sensitive about their legacies, especially, when people are writing about it or whatever. They wanted to be at the forefront. They want to they want to be at the wheel. So, it's more so for the music, and I want to be the first person to kind of establish that, the analytical space, and if it finds its way to him, that'd be good, but, I've had experiences with people in the past in terms of their legacies and things like that, and they're very sensitive. So
well,
take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, definitely. Tanya, good evening. Errol Holmes, good evening. Derek, evening. Other news that we had this past week, and I know it was big as well, was the sad passing of Tito Jackson. Well, probably one of the, outside of Michael, probably one of the most favorite members of the Jackson brothers. And I think he just died of a sudden heart attack, which took everyone by surprise, all the family as well. So because they were just performing a couple of days before, so that was really, really a sad one. Tito Jackson.
Was.
Yeah.
So was
it's very
Beverly.
sad. It's very sad, but one of the things is just it's good is that people, for many years, man, he was the butt of a lot of jokes. Like he was the weak link, and which was never ever true, because anybody that grew up, watching the group, listening to the group, he was a musical inspiration for people to pick up instruments and play. And for a lot of years, he was the butt of jokes, man. So I'm glad, like, in the final maybe decade plus of his life, people, they circle back around to him, and he got that respect that he deserved before he passed away.
He did put out an album in the last 5 years. Put like a blues album out featuring a lot of big guests on it.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah. He put out a record in 2016. And he put out some music, a little bit after that too. Yeah.
Wow. And what about Frankie Beverly then? Frankie Beverly and Mays, big one, big for soul music lovers. He passed away.
Yeah.
Frankie was just
touring. Got a shout out to the UK. Yeah, I got a shout out to the UK because the UK held him down, man. He'd sell out the Hammersmith Odeum multiple nights in a row. So the UK really loved him. And then speaking of going back to Tito Jackson, he was about to go back in the studio and do a reunion project with 3T.
Wow.
So unfortunate, man. These people are leaving out of here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We just heard the news about the founding members of Soul to Soul just passed away as well. Yesterday.
Jeez.
Daddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daddy. 60 years old, man. Very young.
Wow. Yeah, these legends. Yeah, rest in peace to the legends. Yeah, but Frankie Beverly, he was just.
Oh, just to let you guys.
Go ahead, Sheldon.
Yeah, just to let you. I was just about to say, just to let you guys know, Tony, they will not be re-upping again.
What?
I'm sorry, just to let you guys know, Tony will not be coming back together again. So.
I thought they were trying to do a new album or stuff.
This tour was a one-off. No, they've already established it. They won't be going back.
Wow.
Well, on a more positive note, New Kids on the Block start their Las Vegas residency next summer. I do believe. New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I guess we just before we get into it's sad that the legends have passed. It's good to celebrate the ones who are here.
We've got a new album from MC Light as well. MC Light's released a new album in the past week. produced
That's
by Warren Campbell in the main. 1-on-1 or 1-on-1, it's called.
Mm.
You know, with
Have
all
you listened
these
to it?
new female stripper rappers like what they call what she called Glorilla and
Ice
you know,
Spice or Ice Tea?
Nicki Minaj. We've got the best here. You know,
Have you listened to MC Light's album?
Not yet. It's there on my to playlist at the
Okay.
moment, but I did notice that she put an album out, and we had to mention it.
And yes, Mr. Savagnos mentioned that Jodeci were planning to tour in Europe. I know they come to the UK at the end of December. Yeah, so I'm sure there'll be lots of people coming to see that. Also, finally, it's I think for me one of the saddest news has been, well, apart from the legend's passing, is Mr. Diddy being arrested on federal charges of racketeering. I would say this, that there was a time when I wanted to be in the music industry. I wanted to be that was the person I wanted to be, not whatever he was doing outside of music, but how he just sold music, as a label executive, as he, the way he, what he changed in the music industry, not just doing the remixes and his label. I was like, wow, if I could be an executive, if I could work in music, that was him. Anything he touched would turn to gold. And yeah, it is definitely, it's rocked everyone what's happening. There's a lot of people who are nervous because, they were probably involved in a lot of that stuff, but we'll wait to see how that plays out. But, it's not a good thing. For those of us who are music lovers of history music, he had a lot to contribute for the whole Uptown success. And but unfortunately, like R. Kelly, there are things that they did that alleged to have done that have harmed people. So we'll wait to see how that goes. So,
It's very diplomatic of you there, Nancy. Very, very diplomatic.
Okay. Yes. So, but
we should send you to. We should send to a meeting with Putin in Russia. He'd be a great diplomat for the UK, I think. Send you to send you in the middle of Palestine as well, and Israel, so you can sort that out as well. Mr. Diplomacy there.
But anyway, yeah, Tanya, Jodeci coming to Germany as well with Shy. You know what I'll just say is the fact that I think a lot of our artists are recognizing that there's a lot of love in Europe for them. So the fact that Jodeci are now making a journey out, SWV did it a while back, Janet is coming back here. It just seems as if actually they're coming back. They're like, okay, let's try and tour the Europe market. So that's really good. But anyway,
well, I've always felt, in America, black music in America, they've always really focused highly on what's coming out now. I understand that, and what happened, it seems what happens in the past gets celebrated more here and in Europe. They don't seem to really go all out and celebrate, or just do something to remember what has been before them. I don't know. I don't think what is coming out now out of Black America is saying much at all, really. It's just repetition, and we've heard it all before. You can hear something coming out now, and you can hear all the influences in the piece of music, all the samples in it, and what the sampling's far better than what they're putting out themselves. So it's just the way it is, really.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, everyone's here for us to celebrate the Johnny Gill album, his third album that was released in 1990, shortly after the Heartbreak album.
It was released on April the 17th, to be exact, 1990.
Yeah.
There you go.
1990, yes. It sold over 4 million, and it's less than 50 minutes long. When you think about how in the mid 90s albums were almost 80 minutes, 90 minutes. The prerogative, the Johnny Gill album was just about 48 and a half minutes. So it just says that they focused on the quality. The 10 songs with, and half of them produced by Jimmy and Terry, 4 with LA and Babyface. So he kind of went and got some real solid producers to develop a proper mature sound. And this was tough for me, to go through and trying to. I think the bottom 2 were easy, but I think when I got to 9, 10, 8 to 2, that was hard because they were just
Very hard.
I kept listening and moving and shuffling. So, but it's an amazing album. I think of all of them, the debut albums, I think Prerogative. Sorry, not Prerogative. The Prerogative album. Is it? No, Don't Be Cruel album. I think that was released in '88, or '89. So that's was sort of in a different time frame. But the BBD album, the Johnny Gill album, the Ralph album, I think this was probably the best produced and tight. Really, a good 7, 8 out of 10. So definitely an excellent album. So it was really good to be able to listen to it continuously to try and arrange which orders my top 10 on the album was. What about you, Steve? What did you think about the album before we get into our list?
I felt it was, even if you put it up against Bobby's "Don't Be Cruel" album, I think we've had this podcast. I've said it's the strongest one out of all the solo albums. The New Edition guys, for me, I just think it's a really consistently strong album. From, like you say, from vocals, production, songwriting. I just think this album's got it all. I mean, that's a great album cover as well. It's a very defining, strong R&B album cover. That whoever was doing the album covers back then for Motown, we definitely got that one right, because it's we can just. You see that and it's like, yeah, Johnny Gill, I don't think he got much better than this for him, even though he has been putting albums out, and he has been putting strong albums out. This is the one for me. So, like you said, it's been I've changed this 10 about 4 times. I've stuck to my number 1, but like you say, from about 8 to 2, I've moved it around a lot. And I've now gone with the tracks. I seem to have gone, rather than favourites, I've gone with the tracks that I play the most. Now, some of my favourites have changed. They might have been favourites back then, but it's changed now. But I've just done a chart of what I'm playing the most when I go back to this album, the songs that I keep playing over and over. So hopefully in our 3 charts tonight, there'll be, I'm expecting there'll be some surprises, some shockers, We always get that with Sheldon anyway. And I never know where your head's at sometimes, Namdi.
Yeah, Sheldon, what are your thoughts about the album?
This album for me, man, it's in my top 2 of all albums made by R&B male vocalists in the last 40 years. So I'm going from 84. I'm sorry, from 84 to 2004, and it's my number 2 out of all the albums.
What's
and then
number
in terms
1?
of that the whole new edition franchise, it's my number 1. I went back and listened to the album, and I mean the song, like you guys already said before, songwriting is so strong. It's a very, very tight album, from top to bottom, and it holds up. There's nothing really too much dated on the album.
Oh, that's a shame. He was just getting into it there as well. He's gone.
He's gone, yeah.
I wonder what was his number 1 then? That is the thing.
I know his favorite artist is Teddy Pendergrass, but I didn't know if that was going to be his favorite male artist's album. So I was like, okay.
Teddy P. Well, it's hard to argue. Teddy P's a great artist.
Yeah.
He did some great stuff on that Philly label.
Yeah, but I think the thing about this album, and about this particular album, is that there was some. Okay, he's back.
He's coming back. Remember, folks, I think his stream is about a minute. It's lagging by about a minute behind. Just be patient. I know you are. I know you're all watching. Being patient, we really appreciate that. And Max in the house. Big shout to Derek. This one guy got a big shout out. Wrote us an email this week called Michael McDonald. Wrote us an email, said some great things about halftime chat. Namdi. Okay. He wanted to send his regards. He sent quite a lot of suggestions for top tens, like Alexander O'Neill, Midnight Star, which we have got penciled in for future podcasts. But thanks, Mike, for your email, and thanks for watching. We really appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thanks a lot.
You made some good interview suggestions as well. Are you back with us, Sheldon?
Sheldon? Okay. Well, he is looking. Sheldon, you there? Okay. Not quite yet. Okay. Well, hopefully he'll hear us soon, and then he'll join in. But yeah, I mean, guys, if you go to those who are watching, even live, also could you also start putting in your top 10, starting from number 10 up to number 1 of the Johnny Gill album? What your thoughts are? Which one would be your number 10 up to number 1, and as we go along as well. Yeah, and Max said yes, he loves how they used Karen White, Shirelle, and Pebbles on the backgrounds in the Babyface camp.
Oh, totally.
Yes. If anyone hasn't seen the interview I did with Darryl Simmons, he spoke about that. Darryl spoke about how LA and Babyface was saying, look, we've got to go work on another album. So you finish this up and use Karen in the background. Are you back, Sheldon? And Sheldon, can you hear us? Okay. I wonder. We can't hear him yet. There's no sound in his stuff. But anyway, as we're still waiting for him to get on. Yes. So, Stevie, he said, Derek says, my was originally for After 7. I do wonder.
I'd heard about that. I think it was mentioned. Was it mentioned in the Unsung? I can't remember what I did. Let's hear something about that.
Okay.
But they got Ready or Not instead. So,
yeah.
It's a song that Johnny Gill could have sung. I guess whoever was around in the studio when Ellie and Babyface are making them tracks is what song you got, and at least a lot of those artists, got some great songs dished out individually. So can't really complain, can we?
Yeah, I think it felt like and just before we do our top 10, I think Ready or Not sounds better for After 7. I think my I don't know.
The right artist got the right song.
Yeah,
Bobby Brown got every little step. It's perfect for him.
Yeah,
Johnny, like you say, my. Ready or Not for After 7.
Yeah,
Girlfriend for Pebbles. So
yeah,
like I say, they got it right. They did. They got it right.
Yeah. So I don't think that was an issue with that one. Okay, hopefully we can. Third time, eighth time lucky. Sheldon, are you there? Can you hear us? We can see you, but can you hear us?
We might have
I can always hear you. I never left. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I never left.
Okay, so just before we start, you were just finishing up to say that this is your second favorite and your favorite from the New Edition camp. Everyone was asking what was your favorite album if this is your second favorite. Did you get that, Sheldon? What was your favorite album? Okay, I'm sure.
No, you broke up.
Oh, I broke up. Okay,
I can
so
hear
what's
you
your
better
favorite?
now. What's your question
Okay,
again?
yeah. So if the Johnny Gill album was your second favorite by a male vocalist, what was your favorite?
I said it earlier. Make it last forever.
Make it last. Oh, make it last forever. Okay, okay. Keith Sweat.
Make
Okay,
it
so
last forever.
make it last forever. Okay, so yeah, okay. Let's start with our top 10. So I don't mind starting with my number
Hmm.
10 on the Johnny Gill album, and Let's Spend the Night came in at number 10 for me. Um, it was a decent song. It was a little bit forgettable, and it was a little sort of mature kind of track that compared to the other tracks on the song on the album was probably I felt one of the weaker ones, and so that made my number 10. Let's Spend the Night, and I'm trying to see who even did that particular track. I think it
Randy
was
produced by Randy Ran and Jam and Lewis.
yeah, it was a little bit old school kind of thing. So I
Yeah,
just thought, yeah.
yeah.
Well, what about you, Stevie? What was your number 10?
I think Let's Spend the Night is a great place to put number 10, actually. I totally agree with you there. And I went with it for my number 10 as well. It's one of the least tracks that I play on the album. Good, nice, good track. Don't get me wrong, good track. But it's, I don't exactly rush to play that one. But it's a solid start. It's a solid opener, number 10. So let's stick with that.
Okay.
I wonder where. And as we move to Sheldon now, let's hope we can get something out of Sheldon. If we can't get anything out of Sheldon, type it out, and we'll relay it over to the listeners in the chat box we've got down below. It's up to you.
Say that again.
Yeah, you're number 10.
Say that again.
Yeah. So what's your number 10? What makes your number 10?
Never Knew Love.
Wow.
That's my number 10 record.
Wow.
Yeah, Never Knew Love is my number 10.
Okay. It's going to be an interesting one. Okay.
I've predicted, of course.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go to so let me see here. Let me see. So Derek says Wrap My Body Tight was his number 10. Oh, M Max says Never Knew Love was also his number 10. That's interesting. My number 9 was Giving My All to You.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent track, but it's same duel of Randy Rand and Jimmy and Terry. By the time, so of all the out track, those were my my least favorites. Decent track, but when you go up against the rest, yeah.
Wow. Well, I shouldn't be shocked. So I'm not surprised.
Okay. Yes. What about yourself, Stevie?
I went with Just Another Lonely Night at number 9. Like I say, the title of the track sums up. It's a lonely song. It can go at number 9. It can be, we'll send it, keep it up there. We Let's Spend the Night. I think for me, it didn't quite blow me away, that song. Good track though, but like you say, it's staying up there as one of
Okay.
them two, 10 and 9, like I say, I think they're just decent album fillers, but that's it.
Yeah, 10 and 9. But
who did that anyway? Just Another Lonely Night by Nat. Oh yeah, he went more Nat Oldley Jr. produced that one. A bit more jazzy, laid back. So
okay. But what about you, Sheldon? What made you number 9?
Number 9, Sheldon.
Yeah, Nat Adderley was the guy. Nat Adderley was Luther Vandross's arranger. So all those great records that we heard from Luther, the arrangements from Nat Adderley. Number 9 is Wrap Your Body Tight for me.
Wow.
Wrap Your Body Tight is my number 9.
Hey,
why is that number 9, Sheldon? Any reason why?
It's just the fact that the record was great, but I just think there were much stronger songs on there. I mean, it's a great song. I mean, of course, top to bottom, every song had its own identity. So I just think that going back listening to the records or whatever, I just like a few other songs that were higher on my list that I like much better.
Okay.
Good evening to Colin. By the way, Colin's finally joined us. He's been on the cabaret ship singing. He's probably just got off the cabaret ship now. He's probably been doing his Val Doonigan impressions on the cabaret. What cabaret singers are out there now? I'm only joking, Colin, by the way.
Okay. We're getting to number 8. So my number 8 is Wrap My Body Tight.
Oh, you guys need to go. You guys are getting yellow carded here. Terrible. What is going on?
Yeah, I don't know why they released as the 4th single, but
we're on a New Jack Swing podcasting. That song is like the production on that is a great good mid-tempo New Jack jam.
Yeah, it was good.
You guys,
it was my he only had 10 songs on the album, it made the top 10, but it was number 8 for me. It was just a decent track, but there was some nice good ones. Just Another Lonely Night was M-Max number 8. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was as I said, it's a hard one because I think that it was a hard one. What about you, Stevie? What makes your number 8?
I'm just looking at M-Max. All right. I'm kind of in agreement with M-Max because he's got at number 10. He's already picked at number 10. He's got Never Knew Love, which made my number 8. I think it was a slightly stronger track than the other two that I put at 9 and 10. Good mid-tempo track. It's a good track. I mean, for me now between 8 and 2, I could put them anywhere between 8 and 2 all these tracks, apart from some of the singles. But I actually really like this song.
Which one?
Never Knew Love. Even though it's at number 8, I do like it very, very. It's a really strong track. It's just the tracks before it are even stronger. M-Mac he's picked the 3 tracks in his 10, 9, and 8, which are in a different order, but I think rightly should be up there. I think me and M-Mac have got it right so far.
Yeah. Joseph asks about the single had a female, so that was Karen White. That was featured on the remake of Wrap My Body Tight, and it did get to number 1 on the R&B charts. Wrap My Body Tight should have been a top 5.
LA and Babyface production on this one as well.
So Sheldon, what about you? What's number 8?
Mr. Sheldon 8 for number Mr. Sheldon. Oh, we lost him.
Okay. He probably fainted when we found out that people put. So, what was your number 8, Stevie? You said
Never Knew Love.
Never Knew Love for number 8. Wow.
So, Mr. Diplomat, do you think Mr. P Diddy is going to serve a long prison sentence?
My fear is that he might. No, my fear is that he might not. They may do a Jeffrey Epstein. They're saying when they say that he's on suicide watch. When they're saying he's on suicide watch, something tells me that there's a possibility that he's got a lot on a lot of people, and if he's going down, he wants to take people down with him.
What, Diddy said this, or Jeffrey Epstein said that? I know Jeffrey Epstein was...
No. The fact that they've said that he's on suicide watch, that's what they said about Jeffrey Epstein, and then he died. So that if there's, Diddy has he had a lot of powerful people at his gigs, and they've got lots of filmings and recordings. So, yes. So we just wait and see. Steve, Sheldon, what's your number 8? There's a slight delay. Yes, Sheldon, what's your number 8? Yeah, I got my
bit of a geek. This is for the music geeks. Here's that's a UK Motown pressing CD. No, it isn't. It's a German one. I stand corrected. That's a German one, and that's a UK one. Can you see?
Was that of the album?
No, that's the Good Girl. That's how they pressed up the Boys to Men album.
Okay.
They pressed it up looking like that. Or is this? Let me just check. Where was this pressed up?
Sheldon, are you there?
This was made in Austria. The Johnny Gill.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You've changed positions, so hopefully we get better signal. So, what was Jackson? What your number 8 was?
Yeah, my number 8 was "Rub You the Right Way." That's my number 8.
Wow.
The reason, like I said, when I looked at going back and played this album, it was just, to me, it was just so many much more stronger songs that have like lasted the test of time. But just when I put that song in perspective, I think that was the right record for him to come out with at the time, because everybody was, everything was all up tempo, and it was a curve, it was like a curveball, because people didn't really see him as that type of artist with the dancing and all that stuff. Like, definitely loved the remix with CL Smooth. I remember being in clubs and they really played it, really super heavy. But yeah, that's my number 8. Once again, just going back and listening to the album, it's so many great songs, and I had to literally look at them from song to song to song and just kind of wipe out my memory. So my memory, my past memory, would make me make a biased choice. So that's my number 8.
Okay. Sheldon, you're making a lot of people upset. I mean, Rub You the Right Way at number 8.
He's not rubbed anybody the right way with that number 8 there, has he?
No, but my number 7, my number 7 is "Rub You the Right Way." It when it first came out, I didn't like the song at all. When it first came out, I couldn't, Johnny Gill dancing. It grew on me, but if I'm listening to it now, when I listen to it now, I mean, as I said, when you're listening to the album over and over again, I normally would try to skip that track if with "Let's Spend the Night" and "Give Me All Your Love." But it was a good effort. It was a good surprise, as Sheldon says, the fact that he came out, the guy who couldn't dance, the least dancer with New Edition, coming out with really saying, "It's just going to watch me. I'm going to just dance and stuff." So I give him the props for that, and it was a good track and stuff. But
the remix is probably one of the greatest New Jack Swing remixes of all time.
Yeah, but we're doing the album. We're just focused on I'm sure
the album mix is solid though. It's still a classic for me. It's still a classic of its time.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, definitely is. But on my album, it's probably number. Yeah, it is. It is number 7. And Mac agrees with that. Although Derek is going, give him my all to you. He put that down. Okay. Colin's going to bed. I appreciate him putting 1,000% into the singing. Yeah, I mean, as I said, he sang and he danced, and I actually had to give it to him for doing his dance. Really just worked hard on that one. So yeah, it comes in at number 7. It shows you how good the album is.
Yeah.
What about you, Stevie? What goes to number 7?
This is for me. There was 4 singles from the album that was released, and the first one enters at number 7, and I went for Fair Weather Friend. Like you, I wasn't too fussed about this record back then. I didn't like the remixes. There was some remix of it, and I didn't enjoy the remixes for some reason. But the album mix over the years has grown on me a lot, and it is a very strong track. LA and Babyface production. I think you can hear. Sure, did Karen White do? But let me just check.
Yeah. So yeah, Karen.
Let me just check.
I'm sure. What's the name? Daryl Simmons.
Daryl Simmons and Karen White on backing vocals.
Yeah.
Co-produced by KO and Daryl Simmons.
Yeah.
Long track, but like I say, I wasn't too fussed about the remixes though.
Yeah.
I think Jazzy B. No, that was it. Jazzy B did a remix of "Wrap My Body Tight," didn't they? But we'll get to that later. Anyway, that's my number 7. Sheldon, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is "Feel So Much Better." That's my number 7.
Okay.
Nice big tempo.
Okay. Feel so much better. Okay.
That's a good, strong track.
You know, when you look at that, when you look at that record, man, it's just it kind of switched things up. There's a lot of slow ballads and there's a lot of mid tempos, and I'm just listening to the album once again. I'm just very amazed at how the songs are not redundant, because a lot of those albums that came out around that time, they were kind of redundant in their content, in their production, the lyrical content, like I said before. So it was just very unique. I think it broke up the monotony from the up tempo to the ballads, and and where it was sequenced in the album was good as well too. So yeah.
Okay. My number 6, which just and I actually like the vibe of this. Just a lonely night. I like the. Did it sample something? Because it felt like it sampled. It felt like it. I don't have the album, so I don't know if that song sampled.
Might be the melody is referring to. The melody might be from something else. It's got a melody line.
It had a familiar melody that I'm thinking. I felt like but I love the whole vibe about that. Doom, 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 doom.
Might be something like you say, because it's produced by Nat Alderley. He might have reimagined it from some other track that he did, some jazzy soul thing years earlier.
Yeah. So that was my number 6. Go ahead, Stevie. Stay, Sheldon.
But you know what it is? If you listen to that record, the reason why it has a similarity is it's an arrangement. It's a musical arrangement. And when you listen to the arrangement, what makes it familiar, if you go back and listen to Luther Vandross records, like If This World Were Mine, A House Is Not a Home, that's where that familiarity comes in. So that arrangement is where it comes from. It's not sampling the records, but those are the type of records that he made.
It felt like I'd heard it. I heard something about it, but that's why I liked it. I really there was something comforting about the track, and how he sang on it. So yeah, that was my number 6. What about you, Stevie?
This is where it gets tough, because this was originally my top 4, and I've moved it out my top 4, and I don't know why, because I think vocally, sounds the strongest on this track, even stronger than My, which is hard because he really lets it go on My. But around the mid-8 of this track just blows me away with his vocals and his ad-libs and the way he goes on. But Lady Du Jour at number 6, and
number
it
6.
should be further up. Oh no, it's a killer track. This it gets me there. It really gets me there. This track, you know,
Wow.
it is a top 4, top 3 track. But like I said, I've gone with what I play more. I think I've got to be in a certain mood to listen to Ladies As You're. I've got to be in a deep, soulful vibe to what I play it. To go there emotionally to listen to it, rather than let's say I'm on a bus traveling to work or something in the morning or on the way home. I'll be playing more upbeat songs. I don't want to be getting emotional on the bus on the way home. So I'll be playing it the right way and some of the more upbeat songs. But Ladies As You're, taking nothing away from it, is a top track.
You're giving M-Mac a heart attack there.
Yeah. So number 6, unfortunately for me, but great record.
What about you, Sheldon? What's your number 6?
Fair Weather Friend. That's my number 6. And I really like this record. One, when I go back and listen to it, it shows you the difference between songwriters based on their age, based on their time, because these guys are writing like traditional songs, different song content, and for them to come up with it sounds out of the ordinary because you don't have a line with subject matter like that. It was either love songs or they were kind of like club records or whatever that is, but it just really stood out with the song content, lyrical content, the concept. So that is a unique record for me. I think that's probably the most unique record lyrically, but that stands out from everything else on that album in terms of what the message is, what the lyrical content is. So that's my number 6.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, as I said, a great album, and it sometimes it's going to be hard to move the songs around to see how because we're all going to have our favorites. My number 5, we're down to the top 5. I wish this could be higher. But it is one of my favorites, and it's I have to give Jimmy, LA and Babyface some credit in there. Yeah, LA's drums and Baby Kenny's writing, Never Know Love. I just love the just the backgrounds on it. I think is Pebbles. Can you check, Stevie? Is Pebbles singing the backgrounds on this one? Never know love. You will never know love. That's not. I mean, it sounds like you sound like.
It just says Johnny Gill.
I thought I heard a female on it. Okay. Yeah, just Johnny Gill in the background. Okay, loved the track. It's
not getting mixed up with Feel So Much Better, are you? That's the one that's got the female vocal on it.
No. It was just this one. Okay. Will never. I always thought there was somebody on there. I thought it was co-produced by Pebbles also. So I thought
Pebbles sings on Feel So Much Better.
Feels so much better. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Are you getting mixed up here, Namdi?
No. I've already written it down. Never Know Love. Yeah. It was Kenny Edmonds and Babyface. So I could see Kenny writing and LA with the drums on this one. But yeah, so that was Never Know Love. I just really it felt like a feel good stuff. Yes, Colin can't hear any women on it. I think it's still okay. Yes. So yeah, it was. I think it's the two women were on. Yes, I think it was on Fair Weather Friend. You can hear Karen and Feel So Much Better. But yeah, Never Know Love. That I just love that, how up tempo it was, and I actually think I probably could have gotten it a little bit higher if I could have, but yeah, and I really enjoyed listening to that one. What's your number 5?
We've got Sheldon next. We need to get Sheldon.
Oh yeah, Sheldon. Yeah, Sheldon. What's your number 5?
My
Oh
number
no,
five.
you missed
No, no,
me.
it's Stevie.
Is a
Sorry,
record
no, sorry,
that,
no, sorry, it's Stevie. It's Stevie.
Let Sheldon do it while he's here.
Okay.
While we've got him here, 'cause he might drop out again.
Go ahead, Sheldon. What's your number 5?
my number 5, obviously, is his signature record, My. That's number 5 for me, signature record. But I've heard it so many times that where it kind of like the effect that it has on me. You know, I just rated other songs much higher. But I will say, with that record, when you look at from top to bottom, you know, I've been saying this throughout the time, the lyrical approach, but the intro, and that's one of the things that's missing in a lot of R&B music, man. Even from that time, you didn't have unique intros. And when you listen to that song right off the bat, whether somebody is remaking it as a jazz record or whatever it is, you know the record when you first hear it, even before he even starts to sing it. So the intro, and then I love the fact that it started out with like this saxophone intro in the beginning, you know, just, you know, it's great, man. I mean, nowadays people don't have attention spans to really, you know, to really just enjoy intros. They want to go straight to the song. So I think it was great. And then of course the lyrical component, it put him in the vibe. It put him in the vibe of a Teddy Pendergrass. You go back and listen to Teddy Pendergrass's records, it put him in the vein of that. And I think that was the record that solidified him in the lane that he was in, because the other albums that he had done before that, they were older producers working with him, so they were great songs, but they were like a younger person's interpretation of an older person's content. But my, that was his signature record. I can't see anybody ever singing this record. You know, it was made for him. It was custom made, man. Hey, man, that's right.
You see what Max says. For any new viewer here, they're just showing off like, yeah, don't be alarmed. This is how Sheldon does. Shit, Joseph.
Yeah. It's been number 10.
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, Stevie, what about you?
You know what? For once, I'm in total agreement with Sheldon. For me, it's a real. This song, My, it's what I call. It's a champagne moment. You've got to have your champagne glass ready. You've got to be in a certain mood. I mean, he's talking about a woman in a red dress. You've got to be in your romantic, like you say, Teddy P mood. And, you know, for most of the week, we ain't in that mood as guys. You know what I mean? You got to be in a relaxed kind of mood to get yourself there. There's no doubt it's a classic track. No one's arguing that. My is a classic track. And when I do listen to it, you know, it blows me away. It literally blows me away. But it's not something that I play a lot, even though I do. I love the track. It's a great track. And it was at number 3 originally. I pushed it up 2 places to number 5, but it could be easily number 1. It's that good. You know, I can't take anything away from it. It's a classic track. So, but My made it to number 5 for me.
Wow.
If you was asking me in 1990, it probably would have been number 2 or number 1. But things change, don't they? And, you know, I don't drink champagne, you know, and I'm not dry. I don't want to drown in syrup as well. Saxophone from Kenny G.
And the thing about that song, man, is that song was so big at the time when he came out with the follow-up album that he did. I think it came out in 92. People were looking for that kind of a record on the album, and they were kind of disappointed that they didn't see it in there, and it wasn't there.
Again, vocally near you know, towards the end of that track, he just, oh dear, wow, stunning.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got your 5. So let me go to number 4 for me. Number 4. And I remember speaking to Karen about this track because I could hear her in the background. She even sang it. And Darren mentioned that they were working on it with Ella and Babyface, and they said, "Oh, we need to go work with." I think they were going to go do the Tony Braxton album or something like that, and they said he should finish up work producing, and he got Karen, and they both were singing the backgrounds. And I think what I liked about Fair Weather Friend is the messaging. It's just, it's one of those. It's a strange one because how many people sing about being a friend? You know, I'm always going to be around. It's a strange song because most songs were about love and relationships, but this was about, yeah, I'm going to be there for you. Um, and it is like it is an inspirational track, which just seems strange for a babyface. He generally writes about love, and in this particular or relationships, but this particular one was, you know, it was about a relationship or friendship, and it was yeah, really, yeah, really inspiring track. And I could hear Karen at the background, you know, while she was doing her producing her album, you know, getting ready for her second album stuff. So yes, Fairweather Friend is my number 4. I know you guys had it much lower.
I'd it number 7.
Yeah, number
It's a
7.
great.
Yeah.
It is a strong record, though. It's a very strong record.
Mm. What about you, Stevie? What is your number 4?
It's the third of the singles because there was 4 singles released. Rub You the Right Way.
Okay, I'm surprised you didn't have it number 1.
Yeah, it could have been number 1. I've just got great memories of this record. Buying the single, the remixes. It's just a great energetic New Jack Swing track for me. You know, I thought his dancing was really good as well. Underestimated. He really moved in this one, didn't he? You know, but very high energetic New Jack track in my top 5. And great memories of Rub You the Right Way.
Okay, Sheldon, what about you? What makes you number 4?
Okay, so my number 4 is going to be Let's Spend the Night. That's my number 4. You know, now when I'm getting into like these next 4 records, I might sound redundant, but when you look in terms of his singing, it's so powerful, but it's very controlled. And again, Let's Spend the Night, in terms of the content, in terms of the mood, yeah, that's what it made my number 4 record.
Wow. Okay. I mean, a track that I couldn't even stand. He's really high up there. Okay.
Wow.
Wow. But as I said, good album. But I think it was a lot more old school for me. Yeah. Going into number 3. So what Derek said, Just a Lonely Night for his number 4. So and Mark also says, Feels So Much Better for his number 4. My number 3 is my. I think as we've all, you know, we've all mentioned about the track, and I think one of the things is actually it probably is one of the least songs I do play because it was so overplayed that you kind of, you know, you're like, okay, yeah, and that's probably why Rub You the Right Way. It was so overplayed. The thing about it though is that just as we were preparing for this, I started to listen to it again, and I'm listening to the lyrics, I'm listening to the story, and first from the first verse, then the second verse, and I'm like, wow, this is some really good songwriting. You know, you could almost feel, you know, you can just visualize how he's going through the process of the song. Maybe the sax. I think back in '90 when it came out, that was a big thing. I think today, too much sax doesn't really. It's like, okay, it's a little overkill with the saxophone, so it doesn't necessarily keep up with the time. So I would prefer without the sax. I probably would have enjoyed the song a lot better now. Not back then. Back then, it felt that's what you did, have a saxophone. It doesn't sound. It doesn't. It didn't date well with the sax. So My at number 3.
I'm just thinking, how old was Johnny Gill when he recorded this album?
Johnny Gill was 25, 24 going on 25 when he made it.
So can you imagine now, like a 24, 25-year-old R&B singer now, singing, coming out vocally and singing a song like My Mind? You just couldn't envisage it could be that romantic now. Not a chance, not a chance.
But also the ability to pull the songs off vocally. And think about it, since we're talking about age, right? You got to look in terms of Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, LA and Babyface. They're all born around the same time. So when this record is made, these guys are like in their mid to late 30s. They got to be about at least 35 years old. So think about it. A 35-year-old 30 years ago is totally different from a person that's 35 years old now. It's just I think it's just the time, in terms of, it's just a different time period, different mentality, different time period. But you're right. Both of you guys got a point. Imagine somebody being able to pull the records off, and being able to have each record be very distinct from the other, Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. CBG, you ever heard of Black Market Records in London?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do recall that.
Last exit to Brooklyn mentioned buying a 12-inch in London back in the day. Yeah, I mean, I think, it is strange because, you get a different type of producer when Teddy comes because he was still young and younger than the artists he was producing, as opposed to Jimmy and Terry and LA and Babyface being, just, even if they're working with younger people and stuff, they were older than, whether it's Karen or Pebbles or the boys or Bobby Brown and stuff like that, or Johnny, and putting out these tracks. So yeah, it is an interesting dynamics how that reflected on some of the tracks.
Can you imagine the so-called king of R&B, Jacquees? They call himself the king of R&B, dropping a my. It's just nah, mate, not a chance. Not a chance. Yeah. And he's probably older than 25 as well now. He's
Yeah, Sheldon, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just saying, just kind of, piggybacking off what you guys are saying. It's the fact that music they're making, also they are creating music in the traditional sense. Obviously, they're using the contemporary equipment of that day, but there's also a lot of live instrumentation. When Teddy comes, a lot of the stuff is just it's technical. It's all drum machines and samplers and things of that nature. So it's a different approach. But these guys are using traditional, they're using contemporary musicianship. Well, the equipment is contemporary, but the approach into creating the album is very traditional. When I look at the credits of the album, I recognize a lot of the names, and all of these guys were part of the Flight Time and part of the LaFace team. So when I look at the collaborative approach to the entire album, it brings to mind how Quincy Jones would make those Michael Jackson albums. He would really pull a lot of people in together to make distinct songs that really, really stood out. And it's the same approach. You guys brought up Randy Rand. Randy Rand was a member of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's crew right after they did the Janet Jackson record. I mean, they were probably the biggest producers, high profile at that time. And they were supposed to come out with a concept album called The Secret. It was going to be Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Randy Rand, Lisa Keith, everybody in that crew. It was supposed to be an album like that, but it never came out. But, that's why you see that new continuity with what they're doing with Johnny Gill, what they're doing with Alexander O'Neal, Janet Jackson. They're using the same people. So, yeah.
Yeah. As I said, it's no one's going to knock the fact that the music was just timeless, and it's strange because I'm listening, and after we finish, we'll probably look and see which producers gave Johnny the best songs, regardless on our top 10, but which he did. Babyface and Ellie and Jimmy and Terry did 4 to 5 of So it'll be interesting just to see what we think. But we're down to the top 2, and this was hard for me.
Well, hold on a minute. You just had, what have you had at number 3? My, haven't you?
Yeah, my was number 3.
Right,
yeah.
so it's like me and Sheldon's number 3 now, isn't it?
Okay. Have you done your okay?
So
go ahead.
lost in the train of my that we forgot to do our number 3s. So number 3, I got the mid-tempo, Feels So Much Better. Again, really strong backing vocals, Karen White, Pebbles, Daryl Simmons. Again, this was further up. It's made its way. It was probably around the number 6, 7 mark, but it's found its way at number 3 in my top 10 because I play it a lot. I really, and I rewind it, and after I played it once, I thought I need to listen to that again. So I played it twice. So it gets a lot of plays for me now. So it's just really strong mid-tempo song. So number 3 Feels So Much Better. Da, 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 da. I remember actually a little story because I remember going all the way up when I was in my teenage years, getting on a train into the city centre to buy to my local record shop to buy a new Jack Swing import album. And the Johnny Gill album was already out, and I didn't buy it. I hadn't bought it that time. And I got to the shop, and there was nothing out, and I was really disappointed. And I thought, well, what am I going to buy? What can I buy? And I thought, well, I've not bought the Johnny Gill album. It's been out for 3 weeks now, and I've not bought it. So I got it home. I wasn't in a great mood. Got it home, played it. And guess what? I felt so much better after I played it. I felt so much better. So it's at number 3.
Number 3, Feels So Much Better. Well done. You finally got the
All
joke in there.
I know you like those out there. I know you like the little Johnny Gill stories.
Yeah. Sheldon, what about you?
My number 3 is Giving My All to You. I love the backing vocals.
Great.
I love, when people write songs, right? Setting the song up lyrically and songwriting, it's an art, man. So when you look at all the other songs, like when you look at, I'll just use my as an example. The hook is in the middle of the song. But when you look at Giving My All to You, they start off with the hook first. They start off with the chorus first. And it reminds me of a lot of the Gamble and Huff, Philly International records they used to do back in the 70s. They would start the song off like Love Train and songs like that. They would start off with the hook first, and then they would go into the storyline and go into the lyric. And Giving My All to You kind of fits that. So when you hear it, they draw you in with the hook. And of course, Johnny does what he does. So that's what made that's why I rated it so high. It was very, very distinctive. All the other songs on this album, they didn't have that type of lyrical format set up. So that's what made it very distinctive for me. And obviously, Johnny's singing, great singing. Just his interpretation of the lyric, the delivery of it, the feeling and the mood. So that's my number 3.
Yeah, that sounds
Sheldon, do you think the production? I'm talking about the production of Giving My All to You. It starts off with an 808 drum machine that loops, and then all that Jam and Lewis melody and chord progression that we're so used to hearing. It has got a classic Jam and Lewis 80s feel to it. It reminds me of Human League, the production.
Yes. You know what? It's funny that you said that, because when you look in terms of how that 808, that drum sound, and then they got all the other sonic components to it, you're exactly right. Human. Yes.
That's probably why I like it so much. Why it's high up in my chart as well.
And then records like Making Love in the Rain, and some of those records like that, just in that same vein, man. Very clean production too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it gave me the new edition vibe, like attracted new edition, like just one more day, wasn't that one?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, if it has that, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it sounded like a new edition track more so. Yeah.
And then what's the record? It brings up the mind competition. That's another one in terms of how the production is and all of that. It's just, man, those guys, and I'm glad those two camps were the primary producers, because it kind of lets you know that the album is very seamless, but it shows you the unique, distinctive production quality that both of them have. They both have a signature sound, but it's very seamless when you put everything together on the album. Very good.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. The Babyface Troops sang. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
normally when you have albums with multiple producers, man, it's kind of like it just kind of jumps around. It's not seamless. It's just a hodgepodge of things, but it's very seamless. Very seamless.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this album was that yeah, in fact there were times when I was listening to it, I was like, I couldn't, if I didn't read the credits, I couldn't tell when Jamin Lewis did stuff and when Babyface, because there were some tracks that felt that it could have been either one of them. Yes. Okay. So
We're at number
we're
two
down
now.
to we're down to number two. This was hard for me because I'm like, oh man, battling to see which is number one and which goes number two. But I think it will settle with Lady Does Your loved it. Did that? It felt like it sampled it sampled. It felt like that sampled the track. That sort of
Possibly.
chord that was.
It's possible. Like
Well, you
I
know
say,
what it is? Okay, here it is. All right, you said something, but it's the arrangement. Like when you look at a lot of songs, okay, I'm gonna just go back. I know I keep kind of going back in time, but when you listen to a lot of those Motown songs and those old Jackson 5 records, ABC, they have a same. The melody is very similar, and they just kind of like pull out the chorus, and I don't want to say they recycle it, but they keep the same groove. So when you listen to that one record that you said, think about Janet Jackson's record. I think you said it. Come Back to Me. I think you said it, Nandi. They're using the same. The melodies are similar, but it's their sonic trademark. But you're right. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a familiarity with that track as well, but I just love the yeah. Um Lady DeVoe. I love his singing on it and his vocal gymnastics on the track. And it was a tough one to decide on which way to go, but Lady DeVoe was my number two. Good Jimmy and Terry track, and just the whole vibe with that. Um, yeah, it's funny.
I'm very happy that it's at your number two. That Namdi, I'm very happy that's so high up, and you do realise the quality of that track.
Yeah, yeah. It could have been. Yeah,
I'm saying that I did number 6. It could have easily been number 2 for me, but it wasn't. It was at number. I actually think it was at number 2. I moved it. I moved my Lady Du Jour out of my top 2 and 3, just because the others are play more. That's the only reason why. But it's a killer track, man.
It is, and yeah,
get you deep, that record.
It could have been number 1, but yeah, Derek had My as number 2, and Mac had My number 2, Colin My number 2, and Chim Beach decided to do a whole different chart. Number 1, let's just run away.
he just pulled out the Mo Money soundtrack track.
Yeah. So Chim Beach, we were doing the Johnny Gill album, the 1990 Johnny Gill album.
We're doing this album, sir, but it doesn't. But yeah,
but we haven't seen in a while.
I mean, that would have made, if they'd have reissued the album, say, a year later, and put that on as a bonus track, no one would have complained. Well, in fact, no, didn't they put it on the 93? I can't remember. Didn't they put it on as? But I can't remember now. Did they actually put Let's Just Run Away on Provocative album? Someone remind me in the comments. My number 2 is Sheldon's number 3, actually. Giving My All to You.
Giving my
got that late 80s soulful. A lot of mid to late 80s soul albums had like an 808 mid-tempo groove track on them that got played by a lot of the DJs on underground radio in the UK or early on in a club. Tracks like Midnight Star, Curious, that 808 bubbling feel to it, mid-tempo track. I don't want to be lonely, girl. There was them type. Oh, and that would have fitted nicely. Give My All to You would have fitted nicely in the mix in like a night, an 80s like mid-tempo groove mix. So, but just because I play it a lot, I do play a lot now. So it's at number
okay.
3. So can we get Sheldon in to get his last 2 before he gives way?
Sheldon, what makes you number 2?
Not there though, is it?
No, he's there. The camera just was switched off, but he's gonna come back on.
My number 2 record. Hold on, once I'm trying to.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 2 is going to be Just Another Lonely Night. I love the whole sultry vibe of that sets the record up. It's just like, okay, the production is very sultry. It kind of creates the mood, and that's one of those things that's a lost art in terms of making records. People don't know how to like make records that create a mood. And then there's the music. The music is very subtle, Obviously using a lot of electronic equipment, but you've got drums, and it just shows you how great Jam and Lewis are at using the current technology, and they're making it sound like live music. It's just very good, man. The programming is very good. I don't know who programmed it. I don't know if Jimmy Jam or Terry Lewis programmed the drums, man, but very good. And also I got to shout out Terry Lewis, because Terry Lewis is like the primary like lyricist on a lot of these records, man, in their Flight Time team. So it's really good, man. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. We are now down to not number 1, but let's go back for our list. I'm sure some of the viewers will be able to pick out their number 1. Oh, yeah. But my number 10 was Let's Spend the Night. My number 9 was Giving My All to You. Giving my all to you. Number 8 was Wrap My Body Tight. Wrap My Body Tight. 7 was Rub You the Right Way It Feels. Do. And
Not quite. Doesn't sound quite like that record now.
And I feel Rub You the Right Way. And then my 6 was Just a Lonely Night.
Jesus, sing is terrible. It's shocking.
Production was really good on that one.
Killing it.
Number 5 was Never Know Love. Really love that one. Number 4 was Fair Weather Friend. Number 3 was My. Number 2 was Lady Dijon. And my number 1 was, oh goodness, I think the background vocals did this for me. Just the background vocals were just, just the way that it interacts. If you think about when Tammy is singing Goodbye Love with Aaron, and how, even though it's a not duet, but her singing really makes a difference on this. And I could hear Karen White, and I didn't realize Pebbles co-produced this. And yes, Tyson, it is live. And yeah, my number 1 is Feels So Much Better.
It's a great choice.
So much better. Oh goodness, yeah. So okay.
Wow, picked a really quality track there for number 1.
Feels so much better. Yeah. So I just love the whole vibe of it. Yeah. So Colin and Emma Kid, Giving My All to You. They put it as the number 1. Lady Dijon. So Auntie Philly had Lady Dijon her number 1, which which was my number 2. And yeah, but as I said, if you think about it, it's we started off saying it's a hard thing to do for this album because it's such an amazing album. But yes, that was my number 1. It feels so much better. As I said, the background vocals make it for me. Just the hearing, the females singing and the whole vibe. Stevie, you want to go 10 to?
Sure. Let's Spend the Night, which you picked also at number 10. Number 9 is, now you guys have convinced me, I maybe should have put it a bit higher up, Just Another Lonely Night, because it is a strong record. I can't. It is a strong record, that. Number 8 was Never Know Love. Number 7 was Fair Weather Friend. Number 6 was Lady du Jour, which should have been so much higher. Number 5 was My, which should have been so much higher. Number 4, Rub You the Right Way, which should have been so much higher. Number 3 is the next three songs I play the most. Feel So Much Better is your number 1, but it's made its way to number 3. Number 2 is Giving My All to You, as I was explaining before, and a few reasons for my number 1. In terms of the term swing beat, as we used to say in Europe, in the UK, or New Jack Swing, I feel this has got a very sophisticated swing beat. I wouldn't say it's full on. It's between mid-tempo and up-tempo. It's got a very sophisticated drum pattern, and it also, as the song goes on, everything just gets higher and higher and builds and higher, and you're going along. It's like the track takes you on a journey. And also on backing vocals, it's got the inclusion of a singer from the UK called Lance Ellington, who he ended up, I think, in the same year, he put his own album out, produced by Randy Ran and Steve Hodge of Flight Time. He was probably working at Flight Time when this album was being done, and he found his way doing his own album, and he found his way doing backing vocals on the Johnny Gill album, which must have been some incredible experience for him. Hopefully one day we'll get him on the podcast, but it's the track that I play the most. It makes me feel great. I'm not saying it's, the best track on the album, but for me, I just love the track, and it's something I always play, and that's Wrap My Body Tight. Might surprise a few of you, but like I say, a very sophisticated swing beat production. Great song, the way it builds, and yeah, that's my number 1, folks. Hope you enjoy it.
Okay.
And when you listen to that record, since you talked about the drum pattern, Steve, if you go back and listen to Babyface's My Kind of Girl, it has that same similar drum
I like
pattern.
that. I like that. Yes, you've hit the nail on the head. I like that. I like that comparison.
It has that skip, and obviously
two different style of producers, but like you say, the same basis of a track, nucleus of a track.
And then when you look at drummers, different drummers have different type of styles or whatever. So when you look in terms of how LA is programming those drums, yeah, man, it when I hear it, it brings to mind My Kind of Girl, yeah. Okay. And then also you have that skip a little bit, the skipping drum pattern. You hear it kind of in every little step. Some of those records that they're doing in that vein, man. But yeah.
I wasn't impressed with. There was some remixes. Jazzy V did a mix. I wasn't too impressed by it, but it didn't need it really. That album mix was bang on for me. But I'm glad it was a single.
When you look at the play on words, it's like because when you write songs, you have to really think, because you're writing about the same. You're writing about love, and you're kind of different ways of lyrically delivering it, but it shows you how Babyface is a master, man. Because you look at Wrap My Body Tight, it's the same lane. You can write about Whip Appeal, you can write about Rock Steady, but it just shows you the cleverness of Babyface's lyricism, man. So yeah.
Well said. So Steve, Sheldon, 10 to 1.
Okay, my number 10 is Never Knew Love. Number 9 is Wrap Your Body Tight. 8 is Rub You the Right Way. 7 is Feel So Much Better. 6 is fair weather. 5 is my. 4 is left night. 3 is giving my all to love, giving my all to you. Just another lonely night is number 2, and then number 1 is Lady Du Jour. And I'm gonna tell you something about this record. What makes it very unique, I keep talking about songwriting, and it gives you, you gotta give Terry Lewis a lot of respect in terms of his songwriting, because just the title alone. Because when you look at the term du jour, it kind of means something special for that day. A lot of times when they talk of du jour, you probably heard this term in terms of how it's pertaining to food. They got something called platter du jour. It's like the specialty of the day, French. So for him to take that word and inject it into the song title, the lady is she's the special lady in that moment. That's basically what the title invokes. It just, man, great, man. It's a very classy, elegant record, man. So that's why
Totally
it's my
agree.
number 1.
Yeah, totally. And I like the way you've explained that, because I never thought of it that way. I always wondered why it was called Lady Du Jour, but you've summed it up. You've given a great explanation for it,
Thank you.
like a sophisticated platter. You take your lady out to the restaurant for a bit of a champagne, and a sophisticated platter of what are the oysters? You get the oysters down here, and
And the thing about it is, it's dope when you look in terms of how it's elegant, like my, but the lane is different. So I'm always kind of curious in terms of these guys listen to each other's records. They're like, okay, we got to come up with something. But Lady Du Jour, very elegant record in just terms of, it's a seductive record where the woman is the object of his attention, just like a platter, like you said, of food, the oysters and the champagne and all of that. So very clever songwriting, man. It does not exist today.
Yeah. They could have called the track Lady in Red, and it would have just been like, somehow I just listened to Lady Du Jour, I'm thinking Lady in Red, I'm thinking, and then it was a last minute sub from Lady Du Jour, and feel so much better, because they were just my 2 favorite on that album. And anyone that knows, I love my love
post
song.
Marco Crawford's comment, please, Namdi. Post the top comment so we can all have a little laugh, please.
Then look at that song, man. It's like
pour some Du Jour sauce on your woman.
So that's Dijon mustard. Great Poupon. Yeah, but when you listen to that song, man, if you listen, Johnny singing the song straight through, but as he gets done, like you said, it builds and builds and builds, and then you hear the background vocals come in, whoever's singing the backgrounds. It's just that, man, they don't make records like that anymore in terms of, really just arranging the records, the vocal arrangements and everything. So yeah, good song, great song.
I mean, as we started off by saying there can't be any rights or wrongs about this album, because it's just an amazing album. 48 minutes, so they didn't just want to just dump songs and fill up the album, because it makes it different. That's why the Make It Last Forever albums is a classic. That's why the Guy album's classic. 8 songs, so we can just looking for more. Even Thriller was just 8 songs. And when they started to get 12 songs and interludes and stuff, all of a sudden you're like, well, what's going on here? Prerogative, an amazing follow-up album, but we'll talk about that at a different day. But this was truly a good album, especially for me, who just didn't like Johnny Gill. I thought he came and took, he just joined New Edition and he was singing in front with Ralph. I said, how dare you? Why are you relegating Ricky, Mike, and Ronnie to the back row? And I'm not my kind of girl. Oh goodness, I couldn't stand Johnny Gill. Like, look at him. He just came and he's standing in front, dancing, and so I thought he was, they were pushing him to the front. But nothing takes away that he was a man singing with boys, and but he was able to do that and be hip. He was able to take that big, strong voice sounding like a Teddy Pendergrass, but still move with the times, and not many artists could do that. So I was to give Johnny Gill his credits for that. Yes. So that was our top 10. I'm sure, as I said, we saw people. Somebody said they saw last exit saw Johnny supporting Janet Jackson during her tour. I'm sure Jim and Terry hooked that up. But we wanted to find out, guys, what was you had Babyface in LA did 4 tracks, and you had Jimmy and Terry did about 5 tracks. Which set of producers do you think delivered for Johnny on the album more than the other?
That's a tough one, mate. Because you got 4 tracks from LA and Babyface, one from Nat Oldley, and the rest is Jimmy Jam. Say another one. How many other tracks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 5 tracks for Jam and Lewis and Flight Time, and 4 tracks for LA and Babyface. So what you're telling me is which is the strongest song on the album?
But you know what? It's kind of redundant because we kind of hit it, and I would just say that when you look in terms of the songs, right? If you take away,
you could say it's one each. My Mind, Lady Du Jour, probably the strongest songs on the album.
I mean, every song. What I'm saying is, if you take away any of these songs on this album, it's not the album. We wouldn't be talking about it.
No,
it would be the single in totality. You know, it's like when you pull. I mean, certain people will have obviously why we did what we did, but in totality, if you pull any 4 songs off this, regardless of who did it wouldn't be the album. This album sold almost 2.5 million copies, which meaning that the first year it comes out in April, and by the time June and July rolls around, it's at like 1 million, and then over the course of another year, it sells another 1 million copies, man. The totality, obviously, you know, my anchor, you know, that's the anchor, and they did a good job of setting it up with the up tempo, and then it's like boom, we're gonna go ahead and hit you with the ballad, and everything else is you know, I don't even want to call it filler, man. There's certain songs, like you might look at the Jodeci album, a lot of filler on there. You can look at some maybe Bobby Brown couple albums. There's some filler on there, New Edition album, some filler. But I'm gonna tell you, song for song, this album, man. If you remove songs off the New Edition album, certain songs like Competition or whatever that is, the album would still be dope. It still would be what it would be. You take a song or 2 off of a Bobby Brown album, the album would still be potent. But if you take any songs off of this album, it takes away from it, man.
Yeah, to be fair, as I said, it's a balance. If you listen to the songs without looking at the lyrics, you could just about tell most of the LA and Babyface tracks. But you know, some or 2 of the Jimmy and Terry tracks, you'd be surprised that they could sound like Babyface, because they were just looking and supporting each other and competing and stuff like that. Really good album, guys.
But if you listen to these songs, man, even the songs that Jimmy and Terry did, it's still in the lane. I don't think they're trying to sound like them. It's the fact that when you look at a lot of the records that they've done, a lot of songs they're known for, or a lot of up-tempo records and stuff like that. But if you track SOS Band records, like Stevie said, the Human League, you look at the Janet Jackson ballads, you look at what Ralph was doing later, man, it's all the same, man. And to be able to come up with something different each time, that's great. It's totally different when you look at like maybe the Bobby album, and you see the LA and Babyface records and the Teddy records, you know, and it's an obvious difference. But the album itself, they're great songs across the board. So if I look at the Bobby album and then the Johnny Gill album is extremely seamless, man. It's more seamless. But I see where you're going.
It was a very, when we did that New Edition top 10 album of all the solo project, this is why I put the Johnny Gill album at number 1. It surprised a few people, but I knew thought this is the best album consistently for song, track for track, production, everything. But you know, and tonight you proved you proved me right. So you get there. You got there in the end, guys. You know what I mean? You get there in the end. So anyway, when are we going to get Sheldon? When are you next going to make a guest appearance on the podcast, Sheldon?
I gotta see, man. Because you know I got an overseas guy that's working on he's going to be doing supposed to be doing my typesetting in the book, but he's got some projects that he's working on, man, and I'm on a timetable. So if he's not able to do it, I'm going to have to kind of like step in and kind of do it myself. So I'm not certain in terms of that. He threw me a curve. I had a meeting with him earlier today, so he threw me a curve with that. And the typesetting is definitely not in my immediate wheelhouse. But to get this book out on schedule, man, I got to get it done. So I'll have to see. You know, I'm kind of on a hiatus window, but I wanted to go ahead and since you guys this Johnny Gill one, we were talking about this about a month ago, so I didn't want to miss this one. So I had to just keep you guys posted with that. You know. So
yeah. For those who are just joining in, Sheldon is writing a book around LL Cool J and his 40 years in the music industry, especially as he just released his I don't know what album it is. If it's his 10th,
about his 14th album, something like that.
14th album. So, definitely wishing you luck with the book.
Thank you, guys.
Definitely wishing you luck with the book. But yeah, definitely a good album. We will continue. We'll see how Sheldon's schedule is and when we may get him back before he's back full time. You know, right as he's put out his book. But it was great that we were able to go through this album. I don't know if Johnny Gill gets the respect for what he did, not just helping New Edition when they needed to reconnect with an audience and really be taken seriously. And he stepped in and gave them that mature sound, but still allowed them to be cutting edge. And he put a lot of work. They put a lot of work in his albums, and I think those Motown albums, he took it seriously. He got the right producers, and he unlike Bell Biv DeVoe, whose follow-up album Hootie Mac, I think they were just trying to do it on a budget. Johnny was always able to remain consistent, and Prerogative is even a hard album to filter through, because that was a proper follow-up album.
For all my listeners out there, if just you brought up the Hootie Mac album, I don't know if you guys got Paramount Plus, but there's a Bell Biv DeVoe behind the music that's on the Paramount Plus, and they talk about, I don't want to give a lot of things away, but it's very transparent and something we might have to kind of talk about offline. But the Hootie Mac album, they were following the Dr. Dre Chronic situation. That's why they did it, and they got a big budget. But they basically blew it, man. They were trying to do the whole Dr. Dre situation, man. But yeah, if you guys get a chance to, if you got access to Paramount Plus, the streaming platform, you got to check out that Bell Biv DeVoe behind the music. You'll come away surprised.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, definitely good. Stevie, it's been great having Sheldon with us, because it needs the three of us to really get the balance
you
right.
get a more in-depth review of an album, and Sheldon always brings the extra bit of class to the podcast.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys. Well, it's been great. We will, Stevie didn't give his own diplomatic response to his thoughts about P. Diddy being locked up. But there is the music and the memories, and we just can leave it like that. We lost a lot of sad sort of legends this week. I hope the next time we meet, we don't get those news of more legends passing, because that's always a tough one. But anyway, For us, any final words, Stevie? Then Sheldon.
In the coming weeks, October, we've got a couple of bits to look forward to. We've got the New Kids on the Block album, Face the Music from '93 to review. We've also got some of you might remember the NGS3.com website in the mid 2000s. It's quite prominent on the internet. We've got the guys who were behind that website. We're going to just look back on it, look back to that time period. I was a big part of it. So was a guy called Andrew Knight. So was a guy called VJ or Joe Decidal. So we're going to get them on and just reminisce about that site and what it's done for New Jack Swing now on the internet, because it did have a big effect. So that's something to look forward to. But I will wish you all a good evening anyway, and I hope we've rubbed you the right way this evening. That's all I can say. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Sheldon, any final words as we leave?
Great choice, great album choice to kind of go over, and hopefully it inspires some people to go back and revisit the album, and of course revisit Johnny Gill's catalog. And I want to second the fact that he is a critical piece to that whole New Edition franchise. People fail to realize that Johnny Gill had already been making records for 7 years. For 7 years, a little bit longer. We talking about maybe 80. Well, I know his first solo album was 83. But he was making records with Stacey Lattisaw, right around that same time period. But think about it, 7 years. So he's 25. So he started making records at 17, 18 years old. So he's, like you said, he's a veteran in the game, man. And for him to kind of reinvent himself, but you got to shout out people like Gerald Busby to really engineer that. I mean, he's a champion for R&B, man. And for him to really invest in these people and put them out in the proper manner, you gotta show Gerald Busby some love, because without him, I mean, it's not happening, man. I mean, that's a first class album. That album probably cost millions of dollars to make. Terry Lewis and Elliot Babyface at the top of their game. So you got to look at it in terms of as an executive in that time. And again, Gerald Busby is an older guy, man. So for him to understand young people, young acts, and really support them like that, yeah, you got to give him a lot of respect, man.
Wow,
well, it's definitely good. Okay, well, guys, it's been a long one. Thanks for joining in, and we will see you in due time. And keep R&B and New Jack Swing alive. Take care.